What is going on, my beautiful people? This is your certified life and relationship coach, Coach Court. And in today's video, we're going to address an issue that I know a lot of people have after breakups, which is the numbness that is inevitable that you'll feel, especially if you're someone that's a deep feeler after a breakup. It actually, if you want to put this in terms of like someone who's more dismissive, or even someone who deactivates, like a fearful avoidant, I'm going to give you some tips on how to. Sorry, I lose my voice here. How to? Can you tell I talk a lot? How to get over the breakup as far as like that numbness, because I feel that a lot of those stages that you go through, you have to include the depression, the numbness that you feel. I'm going to get to that because I wrote it down. I have a list here for you guys. How is everyone? Good early morning here in America. Good night, people over in Dubai or wherever you're at. But it's good to see everyone. Come in, check in. I got my list for you guys. It's been a minute. It's beautiful and sunny here in Wisconsin, which is interesting because it's really late in the season, and most of the time it doesn't feel this great right now. Hey, Terry. Erica. Okay, Siri is talking to me right now. Sorry, I probably should deactivate that doing live sessions. Where are you guys from? Check in. I'm gonna give some people more time to get in here while I do some things on my end here. It's been a few days since I've done a live session, and I think it was about that time. If you're a new subscriber, say hello. Thank you for being here today. Sacramento, what is 9:30 there? Sacktown. So you must be drinking coffee or tea. What are you drinking? The Bermuda? Bermuda what? Like Bermuda? Because that's actually pretty cool. Minnesota. Hey, neighbor. Is it warm over there today? Bay City, Michigan. As always, so I'm gonna give you guys my pre-warm-up, my workout routine. All right. I go sit before my live sessions. This is what I do. I go to steam room and the secret sauce. I come back and I listen to Happy by Pharrell. I know, don't make fun of me. And I kind of dance around, get the blood flowing. So I'm ready for you guys. This is when I'm on my A game. Like I have a very regiment in what I do. But all right, enough of that. We're going to get to the content because I see that you guys are in here. 10 people, give me some thumbs up. Give me some likes. All right, so let's get to it. For people who don't understand this, now I had someone comment on my channel. Actually, no, it was actually my Instagram comment saying that they don't understand how people can be so dramatic and feel so out of whack after they've been broken up with, or even if they ever wanted to break up with someone. But here's what they don't understand. All right. Breakups are traumatic. I equate breakups almost to losing a loved one. All right. Because the death of love is almost worse than actually someone dying. And here's why. You can reconcile with someone who's still alive. Let's say someone passed away and you didn't get a chance to say what you needed to say. You didn't make amends with them. You have to come to that closure on your own. You have to talk to God or whoever you need to speak to about things being reconciled on your end. And just know that, all right, if you're into spirituality, you can talk to them and say, hey, sorry about everything, how things panned out. But if it's someone that's still alive, all it takes from them is a message, maybe I'm sorry, or hey, if you're an anxious person, hey, I want to get back together. But it doesn't happen that way. And when you're thinking about, divorce, when you're thinking about anything with the div, because I kind of like looking up the English dictionary and why words are the way that they are. And if you think about div, you're like divide, divorce, any of those things that's separating two things apart. It's traumatic. It can be, especially for people who have a hard time with change. And then we're going to talk about, how dismissals process breakups and how fearful avoidance can process breakups. you have to think about how they usually go into repression on what they're feeling and with their emotions in that moment. This when they'll binge the Netflix shows, or they'll get busy being busy with their work or hanging out with friends more. They don't take the time to feel those emotions, right? And this is kind of where um, everyone gets to, if you're someone who was in a long time committed relationship and you just gotten broken up with. So that feeling of numbness is actually normal, right? And this is something that you're going to have to come to grips with and understand, like, this is part of the grieving process. I'm just going to have to be patient, pray that I can come out of this sooner rather than later, because it's actually part of the process. What my mom used to say is, you have to feel it to heal it. you know Actually, no, feel it to heal is someone else. My mom said you got to go through to get through. So at the other end of that trauma, at the other end of that pain and that suffering that you're going through, because like, I think it was Buddha said, suffering is a choice. You don't have to suffer. And actually, I like, when things like that happen to me, like misfortunes, like, I try to figure out, how can I make lemonade out of lemons. By the way, I got my lemons in my tea here today. Talk to me. Good to see you. Catch a live Houston, Texas. Get all their stuff out of your house, because those things hold memories. All right, I'm gonna get back to what I was talking about here. All right, so it's totally normal. All right, and it's a phase that everyone goes through, and you just have to have that patience with yourself, that this won't last forever. I will get through this. And one of the tips that I wrote down was um here's two ways that people kind of handle these breakups. You either go into repression, or you really get hyper vigilant. You really want to go out and possibly find someone else. You go on a dating apps, you try to keep yourself super busy, and it's all a form of repression and not actually sitting and feeling your emotions and understanding what it is you're going through, being in that experience. Because it's almost like, when you were in the relationship, you most likely took the time to just really pause with your person. I know a lot of women, what they do is, they'll just, when they're really feeling something and they're really feeling happiness and fulfillment, they'll look at their person and just stare at them. And sometimes guys get creeped out and they're like, why you staring at me? Like, I'm just enjoying you. I'm just being. After the breakup, it's okay to feel those emotions again. Just be present in your emotions, what you're feeling, because what happens when you repress, it's a form of dissociation. Like, you're having an out of body experience. You're going spacey. It's, how, like, when I was talking to my daughter about this the other day, when you were in school, because she says she spaces out, that's almost like a dissociation um, kind of method, where you just be. And honestly, it's like a mini movie throughout your day. You sit and you have like this mini movie, you just like space out. But that's actually you detaching from your body. And it's only when you come back to, because sometimes people have to be like, hey, and, oh, and you're back to it. So you can actually do that. And this is what I like doing when I meditate too. I purposely try to bring myself back to my body. And this is what they have, some of the meditation techniques that they tell you is, really get in tune with your body, be present, feel where the pain is coming from, they'll have you do a body scan from head to toe. What does your body feel? What does your head feel like? What does your feet feel like? What does your arms and everything feel like? And you can do that too, as part of feeling your emotions when you're feeling numb after the breakup. I have one of the tips I have is, get active. If you're someone who's just laying around and being depressed, and that's not going to help. If you're in your repression, depression and repression kind of go hand in hand. So get active, get moving, get out and be with your people again. Um, Try to find yourself. This is where I feel like you got to fake it till you make it comes in handy, because you kind of do have to fake the happiness and force yourself to do things that you wouldn't normally do. Isolation is depression. I actually was reading a book called What Happened to You, by Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if I said this before, but I finished the book up, and he said one way of healing things like trauma, hurt, like even in the recovery community when I worked in that, is the community part is very important. Common, I like mess with words. I say community means common unity. Get together with people, force yourself to do it. You don't have to talk about the relationship all the time, and some people are going to want you to do it. So it's good to do that in doses, only when you can sustain, talking about it and not getting too bummed out. All right, I should probably think about a different method, but this is what gets my blood flowing. All right, um, so talk about the breakup, and I'm a huge believer that journaling is healing. Journaling, especially when you do it in a manner where you're constantly reflecting on what you're feeling in that moment. You know, I think it's really cool when I talk to people and they say, "Yeah, I do journal," and often I go back and I look at what I was feeling 2 months ago, and I look at what I was feeling 3 months ago, and even sometimes when they were happy in their relationship, they were reflecting on the things that they were feeling in those moments too. So I think that's a good practice too when you're trying to get over that numbness, because like who was it that said, depression happens when you live in the past, anxiety happens when you live in the future, and when you're at peace is when you're living right here right now in the present moment. So reflect on the relationship and just be grateful. Or I say be grateful because it's a little harder to just be grateful for something that, and when you're in the middle of not feeling anything. This is actually something that a subscriber, actually, no, she's Instagram, she messaged me saying, is this normal to feel this numb after a breakup? I've been broke up 2.5 months. Why am I still feeling numb? Like, well, that's part of the process. You have to get there. And she's saying, I don't even want the person back. Like, that's not something that I actually want. I know that it was not a good relationship, or it was something that I needed to get through. But why am I still feeling this numbness? It's because it's part of the process. It's the division. It's separating. It's a new path in life. A lot of people fall into some type of situational depression when they go through job loss, or when, even a friend says, hey, this is a toxic friendship. This is a friendship I don't want to be a part of anymore. So it's all division, and it's can be depressing and traumatic. So those are all the tips that I have for you guys today. Thank you for showing up. As always, I love all you. Appreciate you. Hey, I want to make sure that people who are signed up for my monthly membership on here on YouTube is getting their sessions in. All right. If you have the harvest level membership, please reach out to me to get your session, because I want to make sure that you're actually utilizing the program for what it's supposed to be. And if you want a session with me, my links are all in the description. I appreciate you guys as always. I'm off to another appointment. Love you. And always remember, when you go be loved,